Doing hot mic, baby. I think we are. Alright. Oh man, do you even have a name for this place? Studio?
Unks.
What's it called?
Unks.
Unks?
Yeah.
How do you spell that?
Unk. You know, like uncle.
Yeah, UNC?
Unks. Yeah,
Yeah.
UNK apostrophe S.
UNK apostrophe S?
Yeah.
Or
Unks tattoo. For my my nephew who died last year. He was my cellie for a while.
he was what?
He was my cellie.
Oh.
Yeah, he went to he went upstate, and the lady at the classification center in Camp Hill told him you have to do TC for parole violators. It's a therapeutic community, you know, drug thing in the prison. You have to do it for parole violators. I can keep you here in Chester, stay close to home, or I can send you out to Pittsburgh. Your Uncle Billy's out there. And he sent me to Pittsburgh. So when he got out there, my sergeant let him be with Sally for 9 months or whatever he was there. It sucked with him wrong.
Well, is that why that's like a nickname, Unk?
Yeah, what he did was, what happened was, Uncle Billy. Well, the cell blocks were 5 tiers high. So everybody on the block heard him Uncle Billy or whenever, you know.
Yeah.
And so everybody started calling me Uncle Billy or Uncle Billy, then Unk, then Big Unk. So, well, I told him I was Big Unk. Yeah.
Did he watch you paint?
I tattooed him, and that's the only part that sucked about him being my cellie is every night I didn't get no sleep. I had a tattoo him.
Oh.
Who knew if I was going to get out of there alive? You know what I mean? It's my brother's son.
Yeah.
So I inked him up. He wanted the bottom of the sea captain, octopuses, sharks, all that. And then.
Oh, do you have any pictures of that?
Yeah, I do. I got pictures of that. I got pictures of him up.
Is that where did you start tattooing at?
I started tattooing around the neighborhood, about 12 fucking kids up with the little thread and needle.
Yeah.
Everybody got their name. I fucked the whole neighborhood up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, what year was
There's
that?
always one in every neighborhood. I guess 68, 69.
Damn, what was that like coming up in the 70s?
Different. It was cool. I wished I was a little older. You know what I mean? You
Yeah.
always do. I wanted to be old enough to be like a good hippie, not like some young kid. But yeah, it was different. The tattooing was different. More equipment was way different. The inks, when the ink sucked, you really had to lay it in to get it to stay. The stencils were way different. We had to use, like, your line copy was a sheet of plastic with the outline scratched in the surface. And somebody would pick their design out. You put charcoal powder on the plastic, rub it down, wipe it off, and it stays in the grooves. Vaseline on the yarn, and put the stencil against it, and it holds the charcoal powder. But when we did it, you had to work fast because they started sweating. You know how Vaseline does. The stencil wasn't like it didn't stay at first, you know. But
Where did you go professionally first?
it wasn't professionally, but it was in a shop, Sailor Bob,
Yeah.
in Camden. I worked for him for a little while, and I worked for the last person I worked for was RC, Tattoos by RC. He was in Philly. He had a really good little spot in Philly, in South Philly, on 15th and Snyder, and then he moved outside the city, Delaware County, and got a shop there. He was the last person I worked for. That's when I got the idea I need to just open my own shop because I need to have more control over what I'm doing.
Yeah.
You get where I was at. There was a couple other cats that had been there a while, and they get the custom work. You know what I mean? Like they knew the people. They had been there. They had developed people. But every time I did something custom on somebody, they came back. You know. Hell, the first time I used a machine, I thought I was a genius. I'm picking and poking. I'm like 13, 14 years old. and I'm picking
I know
and
that
plucking,
feeling.
and I see this blow dryer, right? And I thought, wait a minute. You know, the blow dryer, just the shape of it, and knowing what's inside of it, and I thought, wow, I can do it. You know, I was only kind of, and I did. You know, the guitar string, you use a toothbrush for the frame. You mount the motor on the back. You bend the toothbrush. You mount the motor on the back of the toothbrush. Your small motors, they don't have like a cam on them. They're not offset. It just spins like that. So you got to put, well, in jail we would have to put like a paper clip next to the motor shaft, and you know, so that would give you like a cam. But when I was a kid, yeah, and I used guitar strings for needles, and I used an ink pen for the tube. I'd knock the ball out, clean it, and I'll tell you what, today I would not touch somebody with anything that had any chance.
Oh
of
yeah, of
contagion.
course, yeah.
But when
The
we were
stories are
kids,
amazing though.
but when
Yeah.
we were kids, I mean, we didn't think about those things. You know, the good Lord looked out. Nobody ever got
Yeah,
anything.
I'm
but,
actually thankful that you're telling me all this stuff, because I feel like this is like history that doesn't need to be lost, and I'm sure you don't mind reminiscing. It's not,
Right, well,
it's
you
not
know,
every day you get to tell.
I know, and it
these
should have been
things.
more for me. I fucked up, and like some of the cats who've been tattooing all these years, like I'm not jealous of them. I'm just like I wish, you know, you look back and damn, I should have. I messed
I know
up.
it all too well.
I messed myself up. I could have been out doing this longer.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, is that where you started painting when you were tattooing, or is that?
Well, I always painted a little on the slow days. You know, Tuesday, Wednesday were slow because back in the city back then, when I had my first shop in Philly on Girard Avenue, it was mostly walk-ins. There was no appointments. I mean, you know, no matter how good you are in the ghetto, you're doing the tattoos cheaper, and nobody's. I'm making an appointment. They're whatever they're doing, they're coming in, and you change your prices too. That's another big thing. Like outside the city, Philadelphia, outside the city, or over the bridge in New Jersey, your prices were higher in the suburbs. But when you're working in a ghetto, and my second shop was a straight ghetto in the Badlands, and
Bad South Dakota?
no, in Philly.
Oh, okay.
They call,
Yeah,
there's a section of Philadelphia they call it Badlands. Now it's real bad now.
What do you think about them moving that Rocky statue from the top to the bottom? Does that mean anything? Yeah.
Well, you know what?
That's a big deal to me.
Well, you know what? Too, it might be the older folks probably don't think it is.
Yeah.
So, but that was a big thing going up them steps and seeing. Now, I had paintings hang in the Philadelphia Museum of Art from the prison. There was a lady, she was the director of special audiences at the Philadelphia Museum of Art, and she took our paintings from the prison and exhibited them at the museum in the education corridor. And we were allowed to put a price on them. I got lucky. I put 700. I was fishing. 700, 900, 1100, and they all went. So that was cool. But as soon as I had the chance, I made sure that I saw the art museum when I came home and when I went up north. That I spent some time up there. I love it. You know?
Do you have
Art is what it like. I don't think anyone as you're either an artist or you're not. There's no such thing to me as like a good artist. Maybe a good copyist, or like if you're doing portraits for somebody or something like that. But if you can take something in your brain and put it on a flat surface, even if you do it with crayons, if someone looks at it and understands what came out of your mind, then
you created art.
something.
Yeah.
We had a cat in prison. They have a thing called the special needs unit. It's for dudes that are, you know, slow. Not only slow Jews that are just they're mentally slow.
Yeah, disabled.
They call it the special needs unit, the SHNU unit.
Yeah.
The special needs unit. And there was a cat on there, and he drew every day, all day. He'd come out in the yard and draw, and all he had was these colored pencils, and he'd wear them all the way down. And his stuff, if you look at it, there's no really realism there, but you can see what it is. I remember he He said, I did this for you, Bill. And he came out in the yard and he gave me this picture that he drew. And it was a hill, it was like a road. It was a barn on top of the hill. The barn was on fire. And there was a road coming down, and there was a pig standing in the middle of the road holding a match. And he thought that was the funniest thing. And I was like, cool, thanks, Robbie. And I thought, wow, I would love to, I would pay for the ticket. If they had on the commissary, I could order like one trip looking around in Robbie's mind.
Oh yeah.
I would take I would buy it on the commissary. Just to take, you know what I mean, to look around, because he actually put what he was thinking. I don't want to know who burnt the farm down.
What happened? So what is that? Where's that guy at now? You still stay in touch with him, or?
No, I don't talk to him. I seen him in New York.
Yeah.
He's a whacked out cat, man. I didn't, you see him in New York, you treat them guys all right. You know, I mean, they don't bother nobody. We had we had a dude in there. Did you ever hear of Punxsutawney Phil? The groundhog. On Groundhog's Day.
Isn't that Cabbage? That movie Cabbage?
Right, it takes place there.
Rodney Dangerfield.
Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania, and the groundhog comes out, Phil, to see the shadow thing. Well, this cat was high on cocaine, and he kidnapped Phil, the groundhog. And then he called the mayor and said, I want however much money or whatever for Phil, to ransom Phil. And the mayor's like, he said, I'm going to kill him. If you don't pay me the ransom, Mayor, I'm going to kill Phil. And the mayor said, well, go ahead. We got 9 more of them. You know what I mean? So now he's all high and he gets out on cocaine, and he goes home. He's got the groundhog. He's got Phil with him. And he decides he wants to take Phil and let him out in the woods. And he took Phil out and he put him in the kennel thing you carry your cat and dog in, the little carrier kennel. He put him in one of them. He took him in the woods, put him in the car, and went out. And a cop had pulled up behind him, and he, first, putting Phil in the wilderness is just like killing him. He's domesticated. He's not.
Yeah.
He's not going to make it. You know what I mean? But he takes him out. He's got him in the car, and he gets in a high-speed chase with the cop. Crashes the car, kills Phil. And he gets like 3 to 9.
Oh, Phil died?
Yeah.
Damn! Killed Phil!
He got like 3 to 9 for evading or looting or something like that. But, and he told us the story. I wouldn't tell nobody that. We had cats. I had a cat in there with me who, they were running from a bank robbery. And Nate got into the woods. And his co-defendant, they were on him. Nate got way ahead and got him a little hiding spot or something in the woods. And his co-defendant come on in with the cops right on his tail. He brought them right in, near where Nate was. And he hid in there, and he looked, and he seen Nate. And the cops told his co-defendant, I forget his name, Rodney or something like that. He told him, come on out, Rodney. We know you're in there. You come on out. And he stood up with his hands up. Started coming out, and he said, come on, Nate, they got us. You might as well come out. Like, who does that?
Yeah.
Huh? Like, they didn't know nothing. They didn't know where Nate was.
Yeah.
But when you read the transcripts for some of them.
One time we were at a house party, and cops came, and me and my cousin took off running through the woods. We jumped off the woods, and I was over here, and he was over there. And the cops were coming up on me, the flashlights. I'm like, shit. And I thought, what am I going to do? This is in the 90s, free cell phone. I said, fuck. Look down, man. I was in Georgia. A little rock sitting there. I took that rock. I held my side. Tossed that motherfucker, and it flew through the woods. And I heard someone go, ow! And those flashlights went straight off me onto my cousin. And he went to jail. He was so pissed. And, and I didn't mean it.
Did you tell him later?
Yeah, he knew. He knew.
I'm sorry.
But I didn't mean to. He was.
So that's why you like Rocky?
Yeah. Oh no, I like Rocky. That's what makes me love Philadelphia. I heard real bad things about it, but the stories that people tell are amazing too. But I'm in love with Philadelphia because of Rocky. I don't think it's a boxing movie. It's a movie about domestic violence. That guy had a bunch of stuff wrong with him. That he was like a dummy. The mob used him to break people's hands, and he saved a girl from her domestic family, and then he domesticated them. He saved and he triumphed over you know, you got Mickey. He had a lot of shit lost, you know.
Well, he did.
And Rocky brought life back to him, you know.
Sure,
it's like
but-
an amazing story.
Well, he's. I'll tell you what. He's more than a. You know, than a good actor, superstar, and all that. He's a person because he. When I was at Rawway Prison, he came in there and did a movie called Locked Up, and they filmed. Donald Sutherland was the warden. Now Donald Sutherland had nothing. Didn't want to have nothing to do with the inmates, but Rocky was Sylvester
Yeah.
Stallone. They had a table there with donuts in the morning, with coffee every morning. Like he made sure, and he hung out with the fellas. And everybody thought like, you know, he's an actor, this and that. Like they had a scene, I think, where he was going to be lifting weights, and they put fake weights on the end. You know, they put like two. They'll put two plates,
Yeah.
so there's like 135.
Yeah. So it has some resistance.
Right, they'll put
It
two
looks
plates
authentic.
on there, 245s, but then they'll put two fake ones on top, so it looks like he's doing like 315. And the fellows switched weights. Yeah, they put real weights on. You know, figuring, you know,
Yeah.
Stallone with Rocky would get down there and, you know, and he broke the weight and realized, you know, and pumped it.
Damn.
Pumped it a couple times, and it was cool, you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
he was like he didn't like, I don't know, he's like a people person, I think.
Yeah.
I think celebrities
You
like
just
that.
you just really invigorated the love that I have for Sylvester Stallone so much because I just always thought that about that guy and like
Yeah.
that's
Yeah,
a
you can
good,
tell,
that's a
you
great
can tell he
fucking
came
story.
up from somewhere.
Yeah, I hope he
you know?
fucking hears this shit one day.
Right.
I mean, that's a story of the common man to be able to step into a prison and be like, hey man, sorry about your
Well, you
luck.
know
We're
what?
shooting a movie, you guys, there's some donuts. Oh, we're gonna lift the weights. Like, hey, Adrian, look at me now. Like, you
Right.
know.
Well, you know what? The thing is, it's like overcoming something, overcoming any type of oppression, or
Oh,
if
right.
you're downtrodden and things, you know, you still got to keep fighting.
Yeah, well, that movie is actually about that subject matter too. On my wall in my kitchen, I have a fucking black and white photo that from the first movie where it says "Win, Rocky, win." You know, it's like at the speed bag or whatever.
Yeah.
So what about these paintings here?
Well, that's kind of what I did. You know, in the very beginning of my sentence, I looked around, like they have the day room where they call block out, where cats go out and play cards and stuff. If it's raining or if there's some reason you can't go to the yard, or if there's another block is in the yard, then you go out in the day room or the block and hang out. And I looked one day, and everybody was at one moment, like a frozen moment, smoking buckhorns. That's the cigarettes you roll, the tobacco you roll.
Yeah.
They call them buckhorn. They were smoking buckhorns, drinking coffee, playing cards, checkers, the same thing every day, day in, day out, and telling the same stories or telling different lies or whatever. It's just, I seen everybody, it looked as if they were all just sitting around waiting for their turn to come to go home, and they were not doing anything but that. And it was just a weird, not a vision, you know, God didn't talk to me or nothing, but I just seen, in a moment, I seen that. And I said, you know what, that's not going to be me. I got to do 15 more years. I'm not doing that. I painted. If they called yard, I was in the yard. Whenever they called yard out, I went to the yard. But the day room, you rarely saw me in the day room. I'm in the hut in my cell with the headphones on, and a hat, and I'm painting. I'm not even in the prison. In the beginning, I taught myself how to paint things. Animals, different use colors, landscapes, people. I just tried to kill time with paint, and it went good. It killed time, and a lot of guys wanted things done for me. They want me to paint something, and since we were in jail, I can't charge them. Like, I want a portrait, $100. I'll paint a portrait on a 2 foot by 3 foot for you, you know, and they love it. And a guy who appreciates what you do like that and wants to send something like that to his loved one, you know, you try to do a good job. There's not much you can do for your family from in there.
Well, These paintings are fucking
Well, this is
amazing.
what kind of what it morphed into, because I started painting, and these paintings are paintings that I painted for me. I'd start on something, and I'd hear something on the news, or hear something on talking to mom on the phone, or something that was going on out here in the world, and it would pull me into a direction. And the paintings, in one painting, my thoughts would travel around, and I was able to paint it. And it's like escape art, like I'm an escape artist, because I really wasn't there. And I learned when I was painting my baby brother Danny. He was my first brother. He was the youngest brother. He died in a fire, and I was painting a portrait of him from when he was 10 years old. It took me 10 days, but the whole 10 days, I had the headphones on. I wasn't even in prison. I was back when we were kids again, when he was 10 and 12. And it became a way for me to escape, or for me to be calm, just bad, weird, dark stuff goes on, in there. Well, it goes on everywhere now, but that's what it was, and that's what it morphed into, the way I paint now. Now some of these paintings, we had a guy, he gave me $1,000, he tore 4 little pictures out of a magazine, and had his family give me $1,000 to paint them for him. 24 by 36 paintings. So I painted them and gave it to him. Then he wanted 4 more done. I said, sure, fine. And he gave me 4 more little pictures he tore out of magazines or books or whatever. But they were little pictures. I think a couple were like this big. And he gave me the pictures, and he wanted the 4 painted. And he said, I can give you $250 now, Bill. I'll give you the rest. I said, yeah, no problem. And I did the paintings, and he went to the hole. And I'm doing the paintings on for a while. When he gets out of the hole, they'll be done. I finished them. We never saw him again. I don't know where he went. He probably got transferred. I never heard from him or anything from his family. But that's these paintings. That one in the corner over there.
Oh no, look at this right here. And
This one. The dude that looks like me, all cut up. No, that's the Conan looking dude way over there.
Looks like
He
you.
definitely does not look like me. But yeah, that, he gave me a little picture of maybe 3 inches by 4 inch picture out of a tour out of a newspaper magazine. I made that from. And then those 2 over there, the dude snatching up the ghouls and the warrior.
Is that a portrait? Self-portrait?
No. I know you probably think I'm cut up like that, but now that was when that Black Lives Matter thing started on. I hear that on the news every single day, and both sides are like, it just, I don't know. That's what happened there. People don't understand. Everybody believes, right? See how she's half black, half white.
I love you, Mary Jane, more than anything. But I have to let you go. Things will never be the same without you in my life. Through the tears, the pain, you cure most everything. People think you're in love.
Put that in your pipe and smoke it.